He said they're like choir boys, and we talked about that with the Utah Jazz all-star forward Karl Malone. Here's his reaction.
I don't get involved in that. You know, I've been in this business for 12 years, and I've heard it all, and I've seen it all. And nothing surprised me anymore, and I don't really get caught up in what someone else say. I will say this though: when the horn blow, we're going to try to do the right thing and give you everything we got. We don't like to be considered as choir boys because we don't think we are. We just go out and play.
John, interesting. Karl Malone was more upset about the reference to being choir boys off the court. Forget about the the possibility that they may have some dirty moments. He doesn't want to be labeled as a choir boy.
Yeah, or Mr. Softy. I think the choir boy phrase really relates more to John Stockton, who just doesn't look like the killer that he is in professional sports. I think that's where that reference really started out.
I think also there has been a desire to go back to even the earlier years in the history of this franchise that usually it is comprised of what can be labeled as good citizens. I think that is also part of the reference. They've taken care in making sure they build a roster along those lines. The officials, as you see, Ronnie Nunn, Tommy Nunes, Tommy Wood, as the Knicks control the opening tip. The Knicks and the Utah Jazz. Allen Houston guarded by Jeff Hornacek. Patrick Ewing going at Greg Ostertag.
Clear that was the game plan. The Knicks would like to see Ostertag, second-year guy, whoever heard of him east of the Mississippi, get in foul trouble. He's important to this team.
Nice move by Ostertag, but he came up short. Chris Childs coming off a season high of 20 the other night. Right on target. So the Knicks with a 2-0 lead. For the Utah Jazz, most of their games have been played at home. 15 of their first 21 in Salt Lake City. This is the start of a 5-game road trip. Bad pass by Stockton. 3-on-2 developing. Childs for Johnson, the trailer. And here's Houston for 3.
Key thing for the Knicks defensively against Utah is always the ability to handle their pick and roll playing. And that usually involves Stockton and Karl Malone.
Brian Russell guarded by Larry Johnson. They doubled up on John Stockton and it forced the turnover. No, it was last touch by Oakley, deflected out.
The Knicks know. They know tonight, and they've certainly been reminded by Jeff Van Gundy that they have to be their best in this game.
The Knicks with 10 on the shot clock. Hornacek foul by Houston. Took the push. So Jeff Hornacek, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, will shoot 2. Saturday night, Utah with a walloping over Orlando, 101-68. The Magic shooting 29% from the field. Certainly that stat enjoyed by head coach Jerry Sloan. Jerry in his 9th season as head man of the Jazz, and that is the longest active tenure with one team. He took over 17 games into the 88-89 season, taking over for Frank Layden.
It's amazing, Marv. In that game against Orlando, the Magic only scored 22 field goals. Remarkable. Jerry Sloan also appreciates the management and the consistency with which they run that franchise. He is not good at taking pats on the back. He's a very humble guy.
So the Knicks and the Jazz tied at 2. Hornacek with the steal. The win over Orlando Saturday followed the loss that stopped the 15-game win streak in the previous game, beaten by the Phoenix Suns. Sloppy start here by Utah.
Surprisingly, they only average 15 turnovers a game. That's not usually a problem for them.
Ewing setting the pick. Ewing. Nice setup from Childs, and Ewing able to stuff it over Ostertag.
Boy, that's got to give Ewing a big lift, as it did his teammates and the fans here. Perfectly timed play.
Knicks 4, the Jazz 2. Hornacek got the step, lost his man off the pick, and we're tied at 4. The Knicks have won 4 straight at home after the shaky start here at the Garden. Now 8-4 At home, the road record is 7 up and 2 down. They'll be on the road tomorrow. Another test against the Pistons. Larry Johnson stopped by Karl Malone. Shot clock down to 3. Childs eludes Hornacek for 3. And Malone with the rebound.
Oakley is taking Malone at the Utah Jazz end. At the other end, Malone is guarding Larry Johnson.
Allen Houston just ran into a pick, and that hurt. He ran into Karl Malone. Chris Childs handling against John Stockton and fires.
Little shot happy there for Chris Childs. He's so anxious. But the Knicks need him to start distributing that ball as he does so well.
That was Childs' third shot. Oh, nice fake, but again Ostertag could not complete the play.
Boy, Ewing gave him all kinds of room. He couldn't. Ostertag couldn't believe he had that much space.
And now Childs looking to set things up. Houston on a quick release.
That's beautiful. What's beautiful is the timing. Childs to Houston. That's a case of the Knicks' new players getting to know each other and when they want the ball at what moments they want it best.
And the call by Ronnie Nunn away from the ball against the Knicks, a pushing foul. Foul on Oakley.
Childs the bounce pass. The bounce passes are so easy to catch. And the quick release by Allen Houston.
John Stockton played well by Chris Childs. The improved Ryan Russell. Karl Malone, nice fake. Oakley thought that he was going with a baseline pass and stepped away, and Malone able to tie the game at 6. Karl Malone comes in averaging better than 25 per game. He's third in scoring in the NBA.
Only Jordan and Shaquille are ahead of him.
Johnson draws the foul. So Malone commits his first. In the past 3 games, the Knicks have had trouble both drawing fouls and making free throws. This is a club that usually goes to the line frequently, but they've averaged just 12 free throws per game over the last 3. And that's a good sign. It's rare that Larry Johnson has hit on his first free throw.
Let him release now. He hesitates. Let him release. 1.
The last 4 games, Larry Johnson's 2 for 5 from the line. He hasn't been getting there very much.
The Knicks 8 and the Jazz 6. First of a 5-game road trip for Utah. Thursday night they play at Miami. Friday night in Orlando, then at Cleveland and at Minnesota. Chris Childs wanted a illegal pick call. Hornacek. Malone. And the tip by Ostertag.
Allen Houston's got to do a better job of keeping up with Hornacek without the ball.
The game is tied at 8 with 5 minutes gone by, and Oakley just shoved Hornacek away. That is the second foul on Charles Oakley. Last season, Utah 55-27. They'd won 60 games the previous year. They finished second in the Midwest a year ago, 4 games behind San Antonio. And then in the playoffs, knocked off Portland in the Western Conference semis, beat the San Antonio, and lost in 7 to Seattle after trailing 3 games to 1. They came back but lost the 7th game.
A game which Karl Malone wants to forget because of his inadequate foul shooting.
Nice move by Childs, but could not put it down. Here's Stockton for 3. And Malone fires it off the leg of Oakley. It'll be Utah ball, but a timeout has been called. Charles Oakley still unhappy about that last foul call. Continues to talk about it with the official Ronnie Nunn, and is being warned by Nunn. 6:26 left first quarter. Only 15 points a game. Shooting has been way off. 21 of 61 from the field.
For the season, Patrick's foul shooting is 73%.
The Knicks and the Jazz tied at 10. And Russell handling against Johnson. They clear it out. Russell got the step and sets up Malone. Rebound Russell. Hornacek with the open three. And the Jazz up 13-10.
Now there were a couple of jump shots taken with wide open situations for Utah. The Knicks were not attending to the outside shooters.
And that all was set up as Brian Russell went one-on-one with Larry Johnson looking to break it down off the dribble. Johnson lost it. And a travel on Hornacek. Began to make his move and did not put the ball on the floor, which is a no-no. And now Stockton will sit down, replaced by Howard Eisley, a 3-year man from Boston College. Originally a second-round pick of Minnesota, then spent some time with San Antonio, signed with the Jazz as a free agent last December. Did a nice job as the backup to John Stockton. Ewing not able to handle that pass. And here's Russell. Hornacek for three. Eisley passed on the three. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. The Jazz with the ball and a 3-point lead. Ostertag. Ostertag. And the Jazz leads by 5.
He just earned that. He just kept active. Followed his own shots. Kept moving. Very agile guy for 7'2".
Lost weight since a year ago. He comes off a 16-point, 16-rebound game against Orlando on that blowout. Ostertag, though, has just picked up his second foul. In his second season out of Kansas, a #1 draft pick last year. Up and down rookie year, averaged just 3.6 per game. Foul plagued right throughout, missed 17 games because of a broken right hand. Here's a look at Ostertag, and he's able to get to the follow.
Keeps competing, and he got the bounce.
Well, the Jazz with the advantage off the boards. And another is Karl Malone, who's able to handle that miss by Patrick Ewing. Malone has 7 rebounds. Buck Williams on the floor for the first time. Buck has replaced Charles Oakley. Kick ball is called. They get a new 24. Also, Eisley took that kick in his right hand.
Knicks have got to pay attention to the defensive boards. Jazz already have 6 offensive rebounds. This is a great matchup. Buck Williams and Malone, who throws it away.
Childs, one hops to Houston. So the Jazz leading by 3. Eisley off the dribble. And held by Childs.
Childs has done a terrific job right from the outset, staying in front of Stockton, and he did a good job on Eisley until the very end of that move. But he's moving his feet very well, staying in front of the quick people.
By virtue of the foul by Childs, Howard Eisley to the free throw line. Utah Jazz shooting an NBA best 48% from the field. They have led the NBA in field goal percentage in each of the last 2 years, shooting 51%. These days, that's unheard of. That was 2 years ago, and then last year led the league at 49%. They average over 100 points a game, which is 4th in the league. Childs penetrates and lost it. And back comes Eisley. Hornacek with the open shot. 18-12 Utah. Jeff Hornacek, a terrific pickup by the Jazz a couple of years back. Actually rescued from Philadelphia in a trade for Jeff Malone, who was on the downside of his career. Here's Ewing. So Patrick Ewing with a second field goal, and it's Utah by 4.
Ewing seems to be playing offensively with some verve, Marv. You know, he's very, very confident out there, and he's looking for his shots.
Malone got the step. And back comes Childs, looking to push it down again. Houston. Foul called. Run into Isley going for the steal. And a timeout being taken with 2 minutes 37 seconds left first quarter. It's Utah with a 4-point lead.
Rebounding department against the Knicks. Now on this particular play, that's Brian Russell at 6'7", outreaching the Knicks, and there's a wide open Jeff Hornacek. He hung around till he got that basketball, but his defender didn't hang around, and that was a tough move for the Knicks, because this man can make open shots all night long.
Allen Houston at the line. I don't get the idea that Allen is necessarily looking forward to the return to Detroit tomorrow. I don't think the greeting will be a friendly one, that he signed elsewhere, decided to leave the Pistons. And of course the Pistons have done extremely well. What a masterful job by Doug Collins with the Detroit Pistons. Well, all the right pieces are in place.
Yes, it's all fallen into place, and thankfully for Joe Dumars, he is feeling young again, and thankfully for the Pistons from their perspective.
3-point attempt missed by Russell, but it is Greg Foster who just checked in, replacing Greg Ostertag, but not able to hit. Many good opportunities by the Utah centers, but have not been able to put it down.
Just thinking that, Mark, the Knicks are very fortunate, because Utah's missing a lot of in-close shots.
Johnson for 3. Just under 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Either club shooting well. Johnson with the save. Both teams at around the 35 percentile. Buck Williams rebounded by Larry Johnson, and a foul. It's on Hornacek. Knicks want a goaltend. Won't get that call.
Good pursuit by the Knicks now as they get around the basket. Nice dish off from Larry Johnson to Buck Williams, who can't believe he missed that shot, but Larry Johnson was right there to draw the foul.
Well, substitutions for the Knicks. John Starks and Charles Oakley checking in, replacing Allen Houston and Patrick Ewing. Houston hit 2 of 3, leads with 6 points. Ewing with 6. Oakley playing with 2 fouls.
John Starks, as was revealed in a story in the paper today, getting his minutes despite coming off the bench. Last year it was 30 minutes a game. Now it's 27 minutes a game.
John Starks played in his 500th career NBA game Saturday in the win over the Denver Nuggets. Hit that key 3-pointer in the fourth quarter. And a foul is called. Karl Malone establishing position, and was fouled by Buck Williams. Well, these guys know each other pretty well over the years for the many battles in the Western Conference. Buck was a member of the Portland Trail Blazers, and that is the matchup right here. Nice pass. Foster from Malone, and again, Foster could not hit. Pretty pass for Childs. Childs for Oakley, and the Knicks lead by 2. An 8-0 run by New York.
That's the kind of passing that the NBA in general is hungering for. That was gorgeous.
4th assist by Childs. Childs with the steal, then gave it right back. Foster called for traveling, and he has got to be driving very slow. Crazy. And it looked like John Starks hurt his hand. 3 opportunities for Greg Foster, the well-traveled Greg Foster, and not able to convert.
He's 6'11", and you'd almost think he could stand flat-footed and put the ball in the basket, or almost put it down.
Oakley. Charles Oakley with the outside touch, and the Knicks have a 4-point lead and a 10-0 run. Chant of defense from this capacity crowd.
Utah shooting 33%, 7 of 21.
Shot clock at 2. Russell down to 1. It's a 24-second violation. So the Knicks take over. with 6 seconds left in the quarter.
You know, Bob, this downturn for Jerry Sloan and his team could relate to John Stockton's absence. He's been out since 5-something gone in the game. I mean, Jerry Sloan has given him a big rest here in the first quarter.
Allen Houston back on the floor for a last-second shot opportunity. Final seconds of the quarter. Here's Childs looking for Houston. Couldn't find him and takes the shot. After one, 10-0 run by the Knicks over the last 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and they lead the Jazz 22-18.
That isn't the last one, is it?
Yeah, why?
Did I mention that I found the negatives from your bachelor party?
Be a shame if Carla found out about that whole Niagara thing.
Can you say cubic zirconia?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Room service.
Thank you. I've just had this most extraordinary phone call from Delta Airlines. It seems they have this intrepid team of meteorologists who spotted a weather problem ahead on my next flight. So they moved things around and then actually rang me up with a reroute. Now, instead of sitting and circling, I'll continue whining and dining and still stick to my schedule. Very civilized, wouldn't you say? Cheers.
Wouldn't you like to go someplace that felt really safe and secure? Where somebody was there to look out for you, help you find your way if you got lost.
This is OnStar. May I help you?
Unlock your doors by computer if you ever got locked out. Well, now there is a place. The brand new 97 DeVille by Cadillac with available OnStar system. Here now for the time of your life. See your Cadillac dealer today.
Now there's an easy, simple way to make VHS video copies. The Go Video Dual Deck VCR. Place the original tape here, and an exact copy comes out here.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, American Express helps you do more. By Foot Locker, where it all begins. And by the New York State Lottery. Play instant cash games from the New York Lottery. They're the hottest tickets in town.
Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on MSG2, the Knicks take on the Detroit Pistons with pregame coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. with MCS Cannon Knicks Game Night. MSG2 can be found on the following channels: Yonkers, New Jersey, Time Warner of Manhattan, and Bridgeport, Connecticut. Cablevision, you can follow those numbers and find MSG2. For other MSG2 channel designations, please call your local cable operator or use your remote control. Charles Oakley and company working hard on the court on the defensive end. Chris Childs finds Oakley with his patience and good vision on a gorgeous pass.
And a beautiful defensive play by John Starks, leading to the turnover. Jazz only 7 of 21 from the field in the first quarter. Utah leading the NBA in field goal percentage coming in. They committed 8 turnovers in that first quarter. Larry Johnson with a beautiful move, and he drew the foul.
He had to work extra hard against the 6'11 Forster, and he got the great position and a good move. And just couldn't get the timing quite right to finish this shot in the basket. Larry has this habit, though, of spreading his emotion around, hugging, patting on the back to his teammates.
Well, like yourself with the production crew here at MSG Network, John. It's, you know, nice to see every once in a while. Meanwhile, Larry Johnson is 5 of 5 at the line. Several substitutions to get this second quarter underway. Charlie Ward has come on for Chris Childs. John Stockton is back and was tackled by the one-time quarterback Charlie Ward. Submarine. Adam Keefe, who's played well. Antoine Carr, who has also contributed. The bench has done a good job for Utah. They have both checked in, along with the good-looking rookie Shandon Anderson. Out of the University of Georgia, the brother of Willie Anderson, who spent some time with the Knicks last season. And this is Anderson for three. Stockton able to keep it alive. Stockton is fouled by Ward.
Shandon Anderson, Willie Anderson, brothers. The brothers Anderson, you can see the 7-year age difference, roughly around the same height. Both went to Georgia. He is getting a lot of credit as a defender, which is most unusual for a rookie in the NBA. And the Utah Jazz staff is delighted to have his presence. He's meant a lot to their early season success with his aggressive play.
Fits right into a fundamentally sound team. So unusual to have a rookie so skilled at that end of the court. Second round draft pick. Utah did not have a number 1. Travel called on Johnson. So the Knicks, who ended the first quarter with a 10-0 run, now lead the Jazz 24-20. Stockton with the lead for Anderson. And Anderson is blocked. Good play by Buck Williams.
Boy, if you're guarding a man and John Stockton is on the floor, you better stay with your man. You just can't give anybody room. I mean, Stockton's the best at finding open people.
Antoine Carr being played by Buck Williams. Buck switching off to help out on Stockton. And here's Carr. Johnson with the rebound, and Starks with a breakaway. John putting a little extra on that stuff to give the Knicks a 6-point lead. It is so rare to see the Knicks execute on a fast break opportunity, and that is certainly the story around the NBA. The Knicks are not by themselves in that department. Stockton changed his mind, threw it away, and a foul is called.
He changed his mind because Charlie Ward was all over him.
We talked about this last week. John, I really think there has to be some kind of rule change. Here are the Knicks on a fast break. No matter who is on the break, and a foul is called which stops the play, and they bring it back, and there's no opportunity for the 2 points.
We talked about taking it to the top, and Marv, the next day, Matt Winnick, Rod Thorne were my victims. Met him on the street, though.
What did they have to say?
I relayed the play to them.
Did they just
no, it's the Christmas season. They were in full accord with everything I said.
Did they patronize you, in other words, as they often do?
Right.
Anderson with a nice play. Anderson going glass. And the Knicks now lead 26-22. And a kickball is called. Jerry Sloan does not like the call. He felt it was a steal by Utah. Instead, the Knicks maintain possession. They'll get a new 24, but first a 20-second timeout is being called with 2.5 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Did Rod Thorne have that, it's Johnny Hoops again look? Will he just leave us alone?
Rod is such a gracious guy, and he bought it all, as did Matt.
Right. Well, the Utah Jazz off to a terrific start in a number of categories.
Well, starting with field goal percentage and field goal percentage defense, they are the best. Their opponents are finding it difficult to score, mainly due to the presence of Ostertag, who's doing a good job. In the blocks department, they're 5th because of the big fellow. And with John Stockton, who's led the NBA in assists for 9 straight years, they're 2nd right now, so they're always good in that department, and they're very responsible from the foul line as well.
But for John Stockton tonight, a very slow start. Sat for a good portion of the first quarter, but has not been able to get into it. Buck Williams looking to put a move on Antoine Carr. And he does, but a wild shot. Keith tried to save it. Last touch, though, by Adam Keefe. Adam Keefe has slimmed down considerably. In his 5th year out of Stanford, Spent 2 years with the Atlanta Hawks. This is third year with Utah. A guy who can play both big forward and small forward. Foul is called. Larry Johnson will go back to the free throw line. It is called on Keefe. Johnson is 5 for 5 at the line.
Adam Keefe, you mentioned, Marv, a couple of years ago when he joined the Jazz, he was a hefty guy, as you allude to, but he was told next stop is Europe unless you slim down, and he's listened wisely. Although I noticed this year he's not playing that many minutes, 14 minutes a game. I thought he'd be a little more advanced, but because of what went on with Brian Russell, he's taken a lot of the time, and they're very pleased with him at the small forward position.
Well, the Knicks lead by 6, and Larry Johnson on fire at the free throw line. 8 for 8. The Knicks have hit 12 of 12 at the line. 6-point Knick lead. Here's Anderson. Very nicely done. Shandon Anderson posting up John Starks.
He's 6'6", and that's quite an advantage over John.
Starks for 3. An offensive foul. Stockton trying to leave Foster on the move, and Foster called for the personal.
Foster has been a negative for this man and a positive for the Knicks. He just can't seem to do things properly on the court for the Jazz.
Ward and Starks at the guards. Johnson, Oakley, and Williams on the front line.
Wide open middle now with Ewing out. That means Larry Johnson penetrates.
Starks. Yes. Three-pointer from John Starks. And the Knicks lead by 7. It's their biggest lead of the game. Again, Stockton had a problem. Turned it over. Good play by Ward. John Stockton has not been himself. Oakley in a conversation with Carr. Antoine Carr called for the foul. Antoine Carr, the original big dog before Milwaukee's Glenn Robinson had the tag.
And mighty proud of it. Remember speaking with him in the past about that.
John, the stat line on John Stockton: 1 assist, 3 turnovers. Un-Stockton-like numbers. Oakley and Keefe with the rebound. Stockton gave it over to Foster. 7.5 remaining in the first half here at Madison Square Garden. And the Knicks have a 7-point lead on Utah. Ward went for the steal and has called for his 3rd foul.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy looks unhappy, but it's not about Charlie Ward's play, because Charlie's aggressiveness is really keeping Stockton under control. Ostertag on the bench now for quite a while to play because of the 2 fouls. Jerry Sloan doesn't want him to get in foul trouble, so one way to do it is by keeping the guy on the bench.
So Greg Foster's been getting the time and really has suffered. That time the ball slapped out of his hands. He thought he was fouled. 8 on the shot clock. Greg Foster spent a couple of years with Washington, then Atlanta, Milwaukee, Chicago, Minnesota, and Utah. Shot clock running down. Anderson. Nice pass and a foul. And that's a foul that hurts with just a second remaining on the 24. And it puts Foster at the line. Larry Johnson called for the foul, his first.
Well, a spinning motion out there resulted in Foster getting the ball down low. But the guy's 6'11", and to try and deal with him from behind, as Larry Johnson was forced to do, it's very hard not to have contact.
It has all gone wrong for Greg Foster, who is usually a good free throw shooter. Prior to that miss, 12 of 13 at the line. Timeout is called by the the Knicks, second-round draft pick of the Utah Jazz, and one of the subjects of our Coke Classic play as we flash back to the West Regional semifinal last season. And Anderson with a three-pointer to give Georgia the lead over Syracuse. However, a fellow by the name of John Wallace able to hit right here from three-point range. That gave Syracuse the lead, and they went on to win the game and advance. They won at 83-81 over the Bulldogs of Georgia, and eventually went on to the NCAA championship game and lost to Kentucky. Allen Houston back on the floor. The Knicks with a 31-25 lead, just under 7 minutes remaining in this first half. Stockton hits in the foul. Foul committed by John Starks.
Well, Stockton made an extremely difficult shot. Took the contact and still makes the shot. Charlie Ward staying in front. And the Knicks did a very good job because he didn't get around anybody and he wasn't wide open. He just made a tough shot.
John Stockton's first field goal. Chris Childs is back. Patrick Ewing back on the floor. Jeff Hornacek getting set to check back in. Three-point play for Stockton. And Greg Ostertag has returned. The Knicks lead by 3. Ewing is 2 of 5 from the field. Knicks going with 3 guards, so the matchup is Houston against the 6'9" Keefe. Oh, Anderson, what a play. He's beating every Knick who's defended against him. He's beaten him off the dribble. Houston for 3. Yes. Allen Houston able to plant the feet. Had lots of time, and Jerry Sloan upset. Takes a 20-second timeout. The Knicks now lead 34-28.
Knicks really well prepared for the pick and roll. His pick and roll, you see Ewing roll over immediately to Malone. Took him away as a target for the roll to the basket, although Malone didn't roll to the basket because Ewing's switch was so quick. It happens quickly, but it just shows you what preparation means. When a team that does something so well as the Jazz usually do with the pick and roll is well prepared for as the Knicks are.
Karl Malone getting set to make his way back. Malone only 1 of 6 from the field, has 7 rebounds. It has not been a good first half for the Utah Jazz, shooting just 35%. And the Knick defensive play has had something to do with that. Battle between Buck Williams and Karl Malone. Malone double teamed, able to hit and foul.
Malone very undemonstrative out here tonight. He doesn't seem to have the Malone fire. He's out there banging away and playing, but he's dealing with the pushing and shoving and strength of Buck Williams. Doesn't seem to notice it much, though, as the guy is super strong. And then throws up a soft but very difficult shot. We have to recall, though, this is the 21st game for the Utah Jazz, but they've only had 6 away games. So perhaps for them, it's just a little unusual being on the road and getting used to the new environment. At least that's the way they're shooting tonight. What their shooting indicates. They're not shooting well.
That pass intended for Ewing. Malone with the save. Able to bang it off the foot of Patrick Ewing. Yes, Utah with 14 of the next 17 games on the road. They have yet to play 2 straight on the road. This is the first of a 5-game trip that will continue Thursday night in Miami. Friday night, Utah plays at Orlando. Then they finish up the trip at Cleveland and at Minnesota. This is a Utah team that has beaten Seattle twice. They've beaten Chicago. They come off a trouncing of Orlando the other day after they lost to Phoenix, which stopped the franchise record 15-game win streak. Ostertag just did beat the 24. And a foul on Ostertag. Ostertag. That is his third.
Yes, they opened up the season against Seattle at home and won that game November 1st. December 1st, again, they played Seattle in Seattle. They won that game. And, of course, then they broke the Chicago Bulls' 12-game winning streak in Utah. And that was quite a statement. They held Jordan to 44, too, in the process.
Yes, they did. Buck Williams at the free throw line. The Knicks are 12 of 12 at the line. Buck is 69% foul shooter.
All you have to do is look up at the scoreboard, and it's clear how much good foul shooting means to a team. The Knicks right now are up by 4, and they've been perfect from the line.
Antoine Carr is back. You saw Greg Ostertag on the Utah bench. So let's see how they play it defensively against Patrick Ewing. It will be probably Carr using the burly physique to lean on Ewing. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the half. Hornacek. What a play by Carr to keep it alive, and then Williams was able to pluck it loose.
I don't think Ewing minds Antoine Carr on him on defense.
Starks for 3. Yes. The Knicks open up a 7-point lead. That is his second from downtown. Malone. Karl Malone cuts it to a 5-point Knick lead. Malone has 7 points.
How tough for a man his size to get that shot off as quickly as he did.
Here's Starks again for 3. Stockton. Oh, he carried the ball and got away with it. A palming violation, and Ronnie Nunn did not make the call. The crowd did. Carr. Anderson went down hard. He mistimed on his jump. He and Buck Williams hit the floor. They both look to be all right. 3.5 remaining in the first half. The Knicks 38, the Jazz 33. Childs for Starks. And Anderson with the rebound. A very impressive performance by Shandon Anderson. Guy who does a lot of little things out there. And can score. He scored in college. Stockton for 3. And very slowly, John Stockton is getting back into the game, putting his stamp on it.
He and Malone, I think, are kind of revving up now in the mid-second quarter. They started.
Ewing. Well, Ewing with the drop step on Carr. Here comes Stockton. Malone. And he has tied the game at 38. And that leads to a Knick timeout, a 7-0 run by Utah. Now, Antoine Carr lost his goggles a couple of times down the court. And Spike Lee was holding on to him, just made the return, as you saw.
Hey, what's happening? I was checking you out from over there.
Stay over there.
You are so beautiful.
Shut up.
I was just, maybe you and me.
No.
Oh, you are so hot. I was the dress on you and your hair and the light coming and seeing you and your eyes. Like, are those sandals?
You're an idiot.
All right, have a good night.
Imagine no possession.
$59.98 for the Panasonic 25.
Well, John Starks with a couple of 3-point shots It's the Utah Jazz with vivid memories of a game here March 4th, 1993. You may recall this Jeff Malone crashing with John Starks. The end result of that was a broken nose in the first half, but John, always a tough guy, came back with the face mask and lit it up in the second half. He went 4 of 6 from three-point range to lead the Knicks to the victory over Utah. Starks finished with 22, and the Knicks beat the Jazz 125 to 111. The Knicks have had much success against the Jazz here at the Garden. They won 8 of the last 10 against Utah. Foul is called. Foul on Carr. However, overall, the Knicks have lost 6 of the last 7 against the Jazz. They split the 2 meetings last season, winning here at the Garden, losing in Salt Lake City.
Well, Patrick Ewing, the target of the Knicks at the offensive end, will get his will with Antoine Carr on him. Carr just cannot handle him. He's not big enough for Ewing, and Ewing is playing with a lot of confidence against Carr while drawing this foul a moment ago.
Did you say he will get his will? Are we talking legal terms here, John?
That's possible too.
Don't worry, we'll erase it on Nick Rewind. No one will know. So the Knicks now lead by 1 with 2:16 remaining in this first half. Malone and Stockton have accounted for 16 of the Jazz 20 points in the second quarter after the slow start. Stockton now played by Giles. Malone, it counts, and the foul. What a beautiful move by Karl Malone.
That's keeping it simple. Just clear out for him to let him operate, and he made it simple. With the big step, and right to the basket. The guy is so wide. I mean, we know Oakley's big, but Malone's got a little more width to him, and he's very comfortable with that basketball.
Charles Oakley sitting down after picking up his 3rd, replaced by Buck Williams. 12 points for Malone. And the Jazz recapturing the lead. The Knicks led by as many as 7 with just under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Allen Houston over Jeff Hornacek. Back comes Stockton. Now Stockton guarded by Houston. Malone. Karl Malone feeling it here in the second quarter. He now has 14 points. He's the high man.
Boy, they've gone through a personality change here in the second quarter after that lethargic start.
Along with 12 of his 14 points coming in the second quarter. Ewing played by the shorter Antoine Carr. Shot clock at 3. Timeout is called. Good play by Brian Russell. Able to save it with the 22nd timeout. So a 12-2 run by the Jazz to give them a 3-point lead with 1:03 to go in this first half. Reminder coming up, the Tri-State Jeep and Eagle halftime report. There's only one Jeep that's only at your Tri-State Jeep. And Eagle dealer Bob Page at the desk to bring us up to date on what is going on around the world of sports. And Alan Clyde with a look back at the first half highlights.
I think Jeff Van Gundy has to be pleased with the effort of his team here in the first half, but not overly pleased with the execution at the offensive end of the court. The Knicks are not getting into a flow. There's not enough passing, it seems, once again. Kind of one pass down low, and then a hesitation for a man to see if he can work out his own move, and then the ball may come out a little bit. The Knicks are really missing Childs on the court when he has not been on the court, as the flow to the offense just hasn't been strongly developed here thus far, at any rate, in the game.
And the Knicks are shooting only 34% in this first half. They have not hit a field goal in 3.5 minutes.
The Knicks over the last 4 games have not shot well here at the Garden. It's hovered around the 40-43% mark. Now we know that Utah has been allowing 41% from the field to their opponents, which leads the NBA. They're stingy in that department. So that demands more patience by the Knicks, more passing, more picks out there, and a better cerebral approach, so to speak, to the game, so that they get good looks at the hoop.
The Knicks only 4 of 15 from the field in the second quarter, while Utah has connected on 9 of 16.
There's an example, and very clearly stated, how the Jazz best field goal percentage in the NBA. The opposing teams are doing the worst at just over 40%. The last team to lead in both categories, going back to 80-81 to Philadelphia, 76ers. That's quite a distinction that they enjoy right now.
Well, they're into the two-man game between Stockton and Malone in this second quarter. Well, Stockton did feed it out to Hornacek. And deflected out of bounds. Let's see, the officials confer with each other. Question is, who touched it last? Tommy Nunez over to the Knicks bench. He was not asking Brendan Malone what did he think. He was just explaining the call. As you look at the shooting in this second quarter, he was pointing as to where he wanted the ball inbounded in front of the Knicks bench. Nice ball movement. Antoine Carr, although a big guy, can hit the outside shot, and he's given the Jazz a 5-point lead.
Easy ball movement, as you mentioned, Marv. The ball pops from one guy to the other.
And the Jazz doing an effective job at coming with the double on Ewing. Through the hands of Buck Williams. 13 seconds left, first half. And they'll hold for a final shot. It is down to 5. Stockton sets it up. Down to 2. 1. Carr trying to backdoor, and the extra pass crossed. That's the end of the first half. A 14-2 run by the Jazz to close it out over the final 4 minutes and 16 seconds. The Knicks were coasting along, had a 7-point lead, seemed to be in command, but sparked by the combination of Malone and Stockton, Utah able to take charge, and at halftime they lead the Knicks 45-40. We'll be back with our halftime report in a moment.
MCS Service and Canon Technology. Let us show you the possibilities.
It's beginning to look a lot like
had 7 first-half points. Nets did try to keep it close for a while. New York native Khalid Reeves to fellow New York native Jason Williams, just back from an injury himself that cost him 2 games. He had 11 first-half points. Nets down 6 going into the second. Walt Williams took over this three-pointer. He had 17 first-half points. That kind of a season already for John Calipari. How long do you figure he will last in New Jersey? Now back to the big matchups in the league tonight at Chicago. Michael Jordan and the Bulls playing host to Shaquille and the Lakers, and down by 15 in the second quarter. Shaq had 10 opening quarter points. Michael Jordan, nice inside move, beats Eddie Jones for 2 to tie the game at 11, but Jordan has not had a big game so far. Now Shaq on Bill Wennington inside, nice shot off the glass. Lakers up early by 2, and then O'Neal with a nice pass to Eddie Jones for the jam, and the Lakers have had this one in hand, up 10 there, and they continue to lead. Kind of a strange announcement from the Yankees today. They released a fax this afternoon, not as expected, to say that they had signed free agent lefty David Wells, just that they had reached agreement in principle with him. The Yankees say that other details still have to be worked out. Mets held their annual holiday party for youngsters at Shea today. General Manager Joe McIlvaine was asked why the Mets have seemingly done so little in the offseason.
Well, I think that's wrong. I don't think the Mets have been quiet at all. I think, first of all, we signed Bernard Gilkey back. We extended Lance Johnson, which were 2 big priorities. We've made 3 trades to try and shore up our bullpen. We identified the areas that we're trying to improve as the bullpen and another hitter in the lineup. I'm still addressing the another hitter in the lineup portion of it.
Step and then with a 3-point lead. Karl Malone all right after taking that shot a moment ago. Childs off the steal. Childs and Houston in the backcourt. Ewing with Oakley and Johnson up front. Here's Childs, got the step and then threw it back the other way. Ewing. Karl Malone over the years a very durable player. In fact, tonight is 407th straight game. Utah's come out in this third quarter as they came out in the first half. Childs! Chris Childs penetrating.
What a big-time move. Mid-air decision-making, and it was beautiful. Yes, the Utah Jazz have turned the ball over a couple of times now. They've been sloppy, opening the door for the Knicks.
Utah by 1. Utah Jazz with a record of 18-3, but despite that sensational record, the 2 games behind the Houston Rockets. Rockets at 21-2. Stockton from way downtown with a shot clock at 1.
Knicks are doing a terrific job on the pick and roll. The Jazz have not made that work.
Oakley. And a foul. Larry Johnson coming over the back of Brian Russell.
Well, moments ago, Patrick Ewing working out of the right corner against the little taller Ostertag, flashed a left-handed hook shot that was absolutely beautiful, and you just wonder why he doesn't do that more often. That was sensational.
Malone with the rebound and foul. Ewing called for the hack. For Patrick Ewing, his first, and Karl Malone will head to the line.
Malone forcing his way inside, and then Ewing going to the air from behind. Very hard to stop a man unless the block is perfect, particularly a guy with the width of Karl Malone.
6'9", 256 pounds. Only the 5th player in the history of the NBA to reach 25,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. And number 3 in scoring behind Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal. The Jazz with a 2-point lead, 2.5 gone by in the third. Houston. Allen Houston is hit 4 of 7. He has 11 points, and he's tied the game at 46. Stockton with the change of pace. Malone off the fake.
Knicks generating some momentum now at both ends of the court.
Oakley. Charles Oakley with his 3rd field goal. He has 6 points. It's an 8-1 run by the Knicks, and they now lead by 2. Backdoor pass, Stockton from Malone.
Boy, when that middle is open, you've got to be ready for a cutter.
And a technical foul has been called. Well, apparently Chris Childs had something to say that annoyed the official, Tommy Wood.
Another look at that backdoor play moments ago. Deceptive move, constant motion. Hornacek working his way inside.
And Hornacek hits the technical. So it's the Jazz by 1. 6.5 to go. Third quarter. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Traublich from the Garden. Here's Childs. It counts in the foul. Chris Childs looking angry after that technical foul. Took it right to the hoop.
Chris Childs is a tough player, and he responded in the best possible way to his frustration from the other end. Beautifully how he protected that ball with his body while shooting it with his right hand.
Foul called on Russell. Childs completes the three-point play, and the Knicks now lead 51-49. Oh, Childs got picked off by Malone, and here's Stockton. Malone way off, just got a piece of the glass. Kickball has been called. So the Knicks will get it back. The Knicks with 6 straight wins. They have won 7 of their last 8 games. A record of 15-6. But as we discussed right at the start, and the foul on Childs, offensive foul. That is his third. As we discussed earlier, though, John, this is one of those statement challenge type games for the Knicks, who earlier lost to Seattle. Big test. Were beaten handedly by Miami here in New York, and then were able to knock off the Miami Heat in convincing fashion in Miami, which was clearly their best performance of the season. It's a traveling violation.
The Knicks played, Marv, at another emotional level in that game. They haven't played like that since either, even though they've been on this winning streak. Of course, Pat Riley and his Miami Heat demanded that out of the Knicks. Meanwhile, the Knicks are not playing the game of basketball that well tonight, but they're doing fine because of their competing attitude right now. But if they can lift the proficiency, or I should say efficiency, they'll do a lot better. Charles Oakley with an intended handoff to Ewing, sloppily executed, though.
And the end result, Karl Malone able to hammer it home, and the game is tied at 51.
Larry Johnson, 24 minutes in the game, still doesn't have a field goal.
Yes, Larry Johnson has done it at the line. He's 8 for 8 at the free throw line. Ewing from Johnson. It's the Knicks by 2. Utah has won 16 of their last 17 games. This is a rare road appearance. 13-2 at home. They played 15 of the first 21 games in Salt Lake City. Oakley on the break. Fouled by Ostertag. So Oakley to the line. He'll shoot 2, and that's number 4 on the center, Greg Ostertag.
Boy, you don't usually see Oakley out in front of a break, but Chris Childs did. When the forwards run the court, it's great to play with a guy like Childs, or John Stockton for that matter. Ostertag heading to the bench.
A quiet night for the improved Greg Ostertag. 4 points, 3 rebounds. He has been in foul trouble. And that means the return of Greg Foster, who had a very difficult time in the first half. Foster played 10 minutes. 0 for 2 from the field, couple of turnovers. Had several other miscues, but he's back out there. And then later in the half, Jerry Sloan went with Antoine Carr as the backup center. Did a good job. The Knicks lead 55-51. 6.5 remaining in this third quarter. And the foul. Larry Johnson going flying. And Johnson has picked up his third. So Brian Russell to the free throw line. Brian Russell in his 4th season out of Long Beach State. John, this is a guy who really came up big on the playoffs last season, particularly in the Western Conference Final against Seattle. Excellent timing just before he became a free agent. And this after a struggling regular season. He averaged under 3 points per game during the regular season.
Well, he's up to 10 now and shooting the ball so well. 49%. How about 47% from 3-point range?
The Knicks lead is now 2.
It's a clear out for Larry Johnson. He draws the attention of the defense. Under a lot of pressure, draws a foul.
Foul committed by Foster. So 3 team fouls apiece for the Knicks and the Jazz. And Johnson to the line. He is 8 for 8 at the line.
Quite a turnaround at the line for Larry Johnson, a career 77% foul shooter, 62% coming in tonight. And he's red hot.
Hey, I'm done.
You can see the Knicks at 95% from the foul line tonight.
Hey, I got a life, baby. I got 3 kids.
One of the areas of concentration for Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy has been this subject. Get to the line more and then make more from the line. Kind of clear message, but when you do it, it sure helps, and the Knicks are.
Yes, the Knicks now 19 of 21 at the free throw line. They lead by 3. Stockton with a head fake. Ward off Childs, but picked up on the switch. Shot clock at 7. Stockton. Well, John Stockton able to bail out the Jazz with the 24-second clock running down. And it's the Knicks now leading by 1. Childs with the opening. Once again, Chris Childs able to penetrate.
Childs is growing and growing and growing. He's playing against one of the best, and he's doing a fine job here in the second half.
9 points for Childs after the slow start. Did not shoot well in the first half. He also has 6 assists. The Knicks lead is now 3. Shot clock at 5. What a pass from Stockton, but Hornacek not able to hit. And Childs will regroup. He has emerged as the team leader. He's given directions on the court. He's telling guys where to go. Allen Houston with the 3. And the Knicks now lead 61-55. It's a good shooting performance for Houston. He's hit 5 of 8.
Boy, when Houston can come out of the crowd on the perimeter and make shots like that, it creates such excitement for the Knicks.
And for Oakley, that is number 4. The Knicks with their 4th team foul. And John Stockton to the free throw line. Last year led the NBA in assists for the 9th consecutive season. He is the all-time leader in assists, moving past Maurice Cheeks a year ago. Rare miss at the line for Stockton. Here's Buck Williams replacing Charles Oakley. 8 points, only 1 rebound tonight for Oakley. The Knicks 61 of the Jazz 56. A tough back-to-back stretch for the Knicks. Utah tonight. They'll play the Pistons at the Palace of Auburn Hills tomorrow night. Ewing off the fake. Yes, and it counts. Foul on Foster. That is his 4th.
Well, Ewing, forceful, getting the shot closer to the basket. Patrick shooting the ball well now. You can see him faking. And with a good touch. Ewing has now 5 for 10. Has missed some shots tonight. But there hasn't been one boo in the direction of Patrick Ewing. He's played with a different personality here at the Garden tonight.
Well, apparently Karl Malone stepped in too quickly, so Ewing will get another opportunity. The Knicks getting balanced scoring this evening. 14 apiece for Ewing and Houston. Childs and Johnson with 9. Oakley has 8. Starks off the bench for 8. Starks has not played in this 3rd quarter. We come up on 4 minutes remaining in the 3rd. Howard Isley handling the ball, just came on. for John Stockton. That's in 3 for Brian Russell. You mentioned the good shooting from downtown by Russell, 47%. He is number 6 in the NBA in three-point shooting.
Childs providing the direction, looking for motion, demanding the motion, and he gets it. With his teammates moving, though, that created room for him to get a shot off, and it was nicely done.
9 of his 11 points in this third quarter, and the Knicks lead by 7. Antoine Carr now being played by Patrick Ewing. Isley finding Carr. Antoine Carr in his 13th NBA season, and still a very valuable guy. Leads to a Knick timeout with 3:16 remaining. In the third, it's the Knicks with a 5-point lead. Carr played by Buck Williams, and foul. Buck called for the hack, and that puts the Knicks over the foul limit. For Buck, his second. Antoine Carr will shoot a couple. Antoine Carr spent 5.5 years with the Atlanta Hawks, and then it was on to Sacramento and San Antonio. Remember, he was the leader of the bench for the San Antonio Spurs. Very popular player there. Actually a popular guy wherever he's played. This is 3rd season with Utah. Provides toughness off the bench. Yes, he was the proprietor of the Dog Pound in San Antonio.
Affectionately stated, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because he is the original Big Dog. 69-63 Knicks. Here's the double on Ewing. Gets it out to the open man Childs for 3. Childs has taken over in the third quarter.
The Knicks are finding open people. There's more structure to their offense, and they're hitting their shots.
Childs with 12 of his 14 in the third. Malone blocked by Williams. And Utah with 8 remaining on the shot clock. Here's another look at it.
Oh, big play by Buck Williams. Malone takes off on the official Tommy Nunez, who respects his veteran status by not calling it technical.
Shot clock at 5. It's an offensive foul. That was out of frustration. Karl Malone ramming with Buck Williams and called for the foul. And perhaps a delay of game. Yes, Malone took his time in handing the ball back to the official.
Tommy Nunez is staying strong, knowing that Malone is about to lose it.
The Knicks with a 9-point lead. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And this really the test for the Knicks. They have one of the premier teams in the NBA, down by 9. They have the game in command. Let's see how they handle it. Nicely. Knicks are hearing it from the crowd for the defensive effort. Malone. And again, Buck Williams got a hand on it to knock it away.
Buck Williams, a solid low post defender, and he's dealing with the premier power forward in the NBA, who finally draws the technical foul. He's been seething.
Karl Malone drew the delay of game a moment ago, refused to give the ball back to the official. Now hit with the technical, and Allen Houston converts. So the Knicks have opened up a 10-point lead. And the Knicks at the line tonight, 22 of 24. Hornacek with the shot clock rolling down. He thought he was fouled, and Jerry Sloan in a rage in front of the Utah bench. Last touched by Williams. Jerry Sloan may be working on a technical all over the official Ronnie Nunn.
Well, he's coming to the support of his players.
Chant of defense from the crowd. Hornacek off the fake, able to beat Houston, but Houston got help. Shot clock is down to 3. Hornacek off the fake again, and that's a 24-second violation. Did not hit the rim with the shot.
Well, the crowd is certainly emerging along with the Knicks, and you can just feel the intensity level lifting in this game.
So the Knicks take over on the violation. The Knicks defense tonight has been superb. How many times has Utah been forced to pop one up with the shot clock running down? They have not been able to locate good shots. Ewing, again off the double team, fires it out. Here is Childs, and it's a traveling violation. So it will be Jazz ball with 40 seconds remaining third quarter. And the Jazz having their difficulties handling the ball. 17 turnovers thus far. Carr cut off by Ewing, and it leads to a foul. Foul committed by Patrick Ewing. The Knicks are over the limit, so Antoine Carr to the line.
The Jazz have 3 losses, I should say, has 3 losses this year. 2 of them to the Houston Rockets, their adversaries in their division in the Midwest, and 1, I guess you might say, fluky loss to Phoenix 2 games ago last Thursday. Although Phoenix earned it, they've been playing good ball. Sam Cassell at 14 in the 4th quarter. That's a nice reception for Larry Johnson. Patrick Ewing getting a rest right now. But they've been tough to beat, and really only Houston has showed any kind of dominance in the area of the Utah Jazz.
And as we mentioned earlier, 2 of Utah's wins coming over Seattle, 1 against Chicago. Here's some pressure by Utah. We're down to 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Charles Oakley going right at Karl Malone, who laughs it off.
Hey, where's that going to go?
And if he's calling a double technical, Karl Malone is through. Wait a second. I saw a personal foul and a technical foul, but apparently only 1 technical. Because Malone already has 1, but it was a technical on Oakley for that response. Personal on Malone. And Hornacek shooting the tee. So the Knicks now lead 73-66.
Hard to read what Oakley was so upset about, because there didn't seem to be unusual arm throwing or physical play on that.
And Adam Keefe will come on, replacing Karl Malone. And Karl receiving the treatment from the crowd.
Hey, look at that play. Charles Oakley was bumped pretty good by Malone. One guy's angry, the other guy's humored.
Malone had the expression of, you have to be kidding.
You know, it is unusual, Marv, because Charles Oakley rocks people for 48 minutes. And he got rocked a bit on that play. He was insulted.
Here we go, 1.
Karl Malone with 17 points, 11 rebounds after the slow start has come on. But John Stockton has had a very quiet ball game. He had that 1 good spurt, but not a usual Stockton performance. 13 points. Stockton with only 2 assists and 4 turnovers. Down to 24 seconds to go. Third quarter. The Knicks lead by 9. Howard Isley, the 3-year man from Boston College, now handling things at the point. Down to 10 seconds. Hornacek. Carr. Antoine Carr. And time runs out in the third quarter. The Knicks outscoring the Jazz 35-21 here in the third on 12 of 16 shooting. Fourth quarter gets underway. The Knicks with a terrific job in the third quarter, and now lead the Jazz 75-66. Utah has missed its last 5 shots, and that ends the streak. The impressive-looking rookie, Shandon Anderson, able to go glass.
Well, John Stockton back on the floor now. We have to remember, the Knicks have to remember, he is the consummate competitor. He's had a very low-level game for him, but he likes the big moments.
Starks for 3. Oakley with the rebound. Starks called for a travel. He hesitated. He wanted to take another 3 and then changed his mind, and it led to the walk. The Knicks outscored the Jazz 35-21 in the third quarter. Anderson getting inside. He caught the Knicks sleeping. Stockton with the lead pass for Anderson.
Anderson is 6'6", and right away Utah is exploiting John Starks guarding him.
8 points for Anderson. Childs and Starks in the backcourt. Oakley with Johnson and Williams up front. Shot clock at 6. Johnson, wild shot, and rebounded by Malone.
Bad decision. Malone made him go way away from the hoop.
Minute and a half gone by in the fourth quarter. Stockton and Anderson now in the backcourt. Malone with Carr and Keefe up front. And here's Malone over Oakley. And the Jazz right back in it. Trailing now by 3. They were down by 10 just moments ago. And the Knicks want to talk it over. So Utah opens up with a 6-0 run here in the fourth. 10-11 left, fourth quarter. We'll be right back.
Network, in conjunction with Multimedia Sports and Orion Home Video, present Pinstripe Destiny, the story of the 1996 World Champions. 60-minute sports documentary, and it gives you a chance to relive the incredible highlights and stories from the New York Yankees 1996 World Championship season. To order for $19.95 plus shipping and handling, call 1-800-225-2377. Rush orders are available for Christmas, so call now.
Charlie Ward has come on for Chris Childs. Ward and Starks in the backcourt. Ewing up front now with Oakley and Johnson. Patrick Ewing with 17. And he has been hearing the cheers tonight. Played well. Knicks now lead 77-72.
This is really a big statement by Ewing tonight that he is back for the home crowd.
Last touched by the Knicks. 9:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. For the Knicks, the start of a 4-game and 5-day streak. Stockton and Oakley to the ball.
Well, he beat Malone. Malone had his eye on that offensive rebound, but Oakley was there ahead of him.
Charlie Ward with a move that gets the crowd going, but he had to dish it off. Shot clock at 5. Ewing. Oh, he bailed the Knicks out with the fadeaway over Malone. And they now lead by 7. Shot clock was running down. Charlie Ward earlier played John Stockton very aggressively. Picked up a number of fouls, but he did a good job. Malone. Karl Malone able to wheel inside, and he and Ewing make eye contact. The Knicks now lead 79-74.
Ewing responding very well tonight to double teaming.
Here's Ward from downtown.
What you want to do with Stockton, if you're Charlie Ward, is get him to stop dribbling out high as quickly as possible.
Carr, bad shot. Rare bad shot by Utah. Starks had it knocked away.
And he had people in front of him to give the ball to.
Keefe from Malone. The Knicks now lead 79-76. Houston getting sent to report back. He's had the good touch. The Knicks with a 3-point lead. They've led by as many as 10. Ewing for Ward for Johnson. Stockton all the way. Intense and the foul. What a move by John Stockton, because, John, you had the feeling right throughout the dribble he was looking for people. Had no one to give it off to. Decided at the last instant to take the shot.
And Charlie Ward couldn't get in front of him, you see, but Larry Johnson, with his eye on his man, let him go. Has the look as though Larry Johnson, maybe being the front man there, could have jumped in front of Stockton to stop him, although he made a very difficult shot.
Foul committed by Ward, his 4th, and he's replaced by Childs. 3-point play for Stockton, and he has tied the game at 79.
It comes down now to fewer errors in execution for either team. Both teams have been saddled with a lot of imperfections, but they're both playing very hard.
Ewing. Well, it's one of those nights for Patrick Ewing. The fadeaways are going in. He's hitting from all angles. 8 of 13. He has 21 points. And the Knicks lead by 2. 5 minutes in, 4th quarter. Malone. Childs spinning his way. Childs. And the Knicks now lead 83-79.
What a sensational second half for Childs.
Well, Ewing over for the block off the backdoor pass. Keefe able to recover. And it will be Knick ball.
Knicks are really showing character in this game.
6:20 left in the 4th quarter. Childs for 3. That's his 2nd from downtown. He has 19 points. The Knicks lead by 7. And Utah calls for time. A 7-0 run by the Knicks. A club like Utah, only one team has shot 50% against the Jazz this season. Ewing, Oakley on the putback. Only the Denver Nuggets had a 50% game against Utah, and the Knicks are right there as they lead by 7.
I'm surprised with Jerry Sloan not going with Ostertag, even though he has 4 fouls, because the Knicks can get inside Utah. With the big guy out there, they can't.
Hornacek wide open. The Knicks 88, the Jazz 83 as we approach 5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Jeff Van Gundy staying with the backcourt of Houston and Childs. Ewing up front with Johnson and Oakley. Illegal defense for the first time tonight. So the Knicks get the new 24. Ewing, single coverage right here. He is just killing Antoine Carr.
I don't understand it. Ostertag at 7'2" is going to be more of a defensive presence than Carr.
Ewing has 23, and the Knicks lead by 7. Malone. And look out, Malone is sent flying and was upset, and then able to laugh it off.
He has too much respect for Ewing, and it's mutual. Both dream teamers, and there was nothing flagrant about that play. Let's take another look at it, though. Here's Ewing bumping Malone. That's no big deal. But then it wasn't Ewing. It was the follow-up play. Let's take another look at it now. Charles Oakley in
Oakley
there.
Got him, yes.
That has a flagrant look to it. Meanwhile, Malone got up smiling.
They had words earlier. Oakley did not like the hit from Malone. Well, it's a personal on. A personal on Ewing and a flagrant on Oakley. And that was an unnecessary hit by Charles Oakley. So it's 2 shots plus possession. That means Oakley also gets charged with a foul as 5th. Well, that's a rare one. There were 2 fouls called on the play. One on Ewing, one on Oakley. Oakley for the flagrant. And it will be Utah ball, but the Knicks take a 20-second timeout with 4:26 left in this 4th quarter. The Knicks with 6 straight wins. They've won 7 of their last 8. Utah, 16 wins the last 17 games. They come in at 18-3. And for the Jazz, it's the first of 5 straight on the road.
Karl Malone chatting with the officials about that play.
Apparently the score that you saw a moment ago was incorrect. They had not posted the extra free throw on the board. The correct score is Knicks 90 and the Jazz 84. A 6-point margin. The Knicks have led by as many as 10. The Jazz have led by as many as 6. Malone now played by Buck Williams. Down goes Stockton. Childs leading Houston. Houston protecting the ball from Malone. He knew he had someone behind him. Good play by Allen Houston. And the Knicks now lead by 8 points. Buck Williams replacing Charles Oakley. Buck has done a good job on Malone. Just under 4 minutes to go in the 4th. Stockton leading Malone. And Malone heads back to the line.
First time that pick and roll has worked for Utah tonight.
Foul committed by Buck Williams. That is his 3rd. The Knicks with their 4th team foul.
And here is the classic Utah Jazz pick and roll. Pick really wasn't set. It wasn't necessary, but Malone broke at the right time and got the return pass.
While the Knicks are in foul trouble, the next one would put them over the limit. The Jazz do not have any team fouls. Malone is 4 of 7 at the line. He is a 74% free throw shooter.
He is the career active leader in free throws attempted and made.
So Malone able to hit 1 of 2, and the Knicks now lead 92-85. Three-second violation. Ewing establishing position and called for the 3. Jerry Sloan staying with Stockton and Hornacek in the backcourt with Carr, Keith, and Malone on the front line. Utah 18 turnovers. Knicks now have 17. Utah cutting it down in the second half. Shot clock is at 7. Carr was left open off the double team. And a loose ball foul against the Jazz on Keith.
Adam Keith got locked up with Ewing and committed the foul. Unintentional, but he just was in a bad position there with Ewing next to him.
And only the first team foul for the Jazz. 3 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Nice Nice pass slapped away from Johnson. Patrick Ewing, very pass conscious. He had the cutting Larry Johnson. The Knicks now have 13 on the shot clock. Ewing from deep. And Keith able to get to that rebound. Stockton for three. An important possession. John Stockton with no hesitation. Able to pull it up and hit from straight away to cut it to a 4-point Knick lead. So Stockton has come on here in the fourth. 8 of his 21 in the fourth quarter. An enormous test for the Knicks, who despite the record of 15-6, not getting the respect, particularly here in New York. 6 straight wins, 7 of the last 8, and people are saying, okay, Utah's in, let's see what you can do against this club, one of the best clubs in the league. Well, they have led most of the way. They played very well most of the way. They have a 4-point lead with 2 minutes to go. Malone, it is down to 2. The Knicks 92 and the Jazz 90.
Jazz plays with such confidence, and they're just calmly going about their business.
Apparently they are adjusting the clock, and a timeout taken by the Knicks. 6 unanswered by Utah. A minute 50.
Yes, Knicks game night. John Stockton with a 3-point shot. Big time. Followed by his teammate, Karl Malone. Karl Malone now making it 92-90 with that cool turnaround jump shot.
On the subject of the Pistons, the Knicks have won 6 straight, 12 of the last 13 against Detroit, but facing a different Detroit Piston group led by Grant Hill, and Doug Collins has done a tremendous job with the Pistons. Tomorrow night in Auburn Hills, the Knicks play the Pistons only 3 times this year, twice within 4 days. 2-point lead for the Knicks. Childs getting inside. And Malone to the rebound. A minute 35 left in the fourth. Utah with the ball down by 2. They've scored the last 6 points. Stockton. He has Malone open in the corner as Williams came out to double. Hornacek down the lane, had a wide open lane, and he's tied the game at 92.
He's in constant motion, and whatever Allen Houston can do defensively, whatever the best is, had better show now.
8-0 run by Utah. Ewing over Carr. Patrick Ewing with a clutch shot, and the Knicks lead 94-92 as we come up on 1 minute remaining.
What a statement night for Ewing tonight. Big game for him.
25 points, 11 rebounds for Ewing. Carr. Malone from deep. Karl Malone has tied the game. Foot on the line. He was looking for a 3. 94 apiece. And easily the best game of the season that the Knicks have been involved in. Ewing for Johnson. Passed on the shot. Childs for 3. Chris Childs from downtown. And the Knicks now lead 97-94. 25 seconds remaining. Here's Stockton for 3. And Ewing not able to hold on to the ball. Now the Jazz will take a timeout. It will be Utah ball. 20 and 10 seconds remaining. Well, the Knicks with important shots and coming through. First it was Ewing, then it was Childs. We'll be right back.
The term Mr. Big Shot for Derek Harper last year on several occasions, but Childs has certainly earned that title in this game and in many other games the Knicks have played this year. He loves taking the big shots.
It is a Knicks career high for Chris Childs with 22 points. Utah 2 timeouts and a 20. Knicks have 1 timeout left.
It's got to be a fast 2 for Utah, or else they're going to be forced to go for 3.
And the Jazz will have a foul to give. if the ball goes back to the Knicks. Carr looks to inbound. Hornacek went down, and Carr couldn't find anyone. Had a call for time. Hornacek felt that he was fouled. He thought he was pushed, but did not get the call. So still 20 and 8/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. It's a 22nd timeout being used by the Jazz. The Knicks have a 97-94 lead.
Take a look at the inbounds play now. Carr inbounding. Malone looking to set the pick. Hornacek falls. Allen Houston behind him. Hornacek with that pleading look to the official. No foul call. And there wasn't a foul call.
Only 3 losses suffered by the Utah Jazz this season. 2 at the hands of the Houston Rockets, who are 2 games in front of the Midwest, in front of Utah, and 1 to the Phoenix Suns, which stopped the 15-game win streak. Now Malone will throw in. Stockton regroups. Picked up on the switch by Buck Williams. Now they'll go for the 2. Rebounded by Childs. The foul on Russell. 9 seconds remaining. It is a non-shooting foul. The next foul will put them over the limit. John Starks will check in. They're resetting the game clock to 9.5 seconds. Now Scott Brooks also checking in. Brooks has not played at all. They want people to handle the ball out there, and also people who can go to the foul line.
Interesting that Utah, yes, he's already demonstrated his courage, went to Carr on a very big shot.
All right, here's Brooks with the inbounds pass. Childs draws the foul, and Carr is trying to brace his fall that actually looked much worse. And Childs acknowledges that. As Childs was spinning, Carr was trying to protect Childs from falling. So Childs to the line. He is 1 of 1 at the line. We're 7 and 6/10 seconds to go. And the Knicks have done a splendid job at the foul line this evening, 24 of 26. It has been a career night for Childs after the slow start in the first half. Very coolly hits the first. And the Knicks now lead 98-94.
We're watching the emergence of Chris Childs more and more now. And this is a big step for him and the Knicks. And the Knicks' confidence in him.
And he comes off a 20-point game the other night against Denver. Sensational foul shooting tonight by the Knicks. And the Knicks now lead by 5. Timeout taken by the Jazz.
We could not deny the RAV4 our top ranking.
The RAV4 brakes
This young man in 1960 won the Olympic gold medal in Rome, then known as Cassius Marcellus Clay, the former heavyweight champion of the world, and the people's choice Louisville, Kentucky, now known.
The vibrating message alert. Sure, we could tell you.
All right. Off with them. Don't see any doctors moving down toward the dressing room.
And the draw controlled by Johnson.
Just about that elbow, Howie. There's a tendency when you run into somebody. Here's an Islander 2-1 break.
Oh, nice feed to Smolinski, but it's going to be negated because down and hit hard to the ice was Brent Hughes. And that's Rich Campbell, the Islander trainer, going to Hughes. And that happened behind the play after McInnes released the puck to Smolinski. And now Pilon and Stevens resume their little friendship.
If the penalty's on Los Angeles, the Islanders had a 2-on-1 break. Is it because of the injury?
It may be because, listen, all I'm doing is guessing because I saw McCabe make a nice pass to Smolinski to start what appeared to be a 2-on-1.
Well, I'll tell you, if you were asking
outcome, although it certainly isn't as dramatic as the shot making that we've seen in the last few minutes.
7 6/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Utah down by 5. They need a quick shot. Here it is. Hornacek for 3, and that will wrap it. Final seconds. Russell for 3, and for the Knicks, it is their biggest win of the season. Certainly, the victory over Pat Riley in Miami was enormous after the bad performance against the Heat at the Garden just several days earlier, but this was one to prove that they can play with the better teams. They go to 16-6. They've won 7 straight, 8 of the last 9, and they do it against a Utah team that had won 16 of its previous 17. They sweep the 5-game homestand, and now the question is, can they build from this? They'll have another test tomorrow night against the Detroit Pistons at the Palace of Auburn Hills. A terrific night for the Knicks. They have beaten the Jazz 99-94. We'll be back to recap it in a moment.
Silence over at the Meadowlands Arena, where the utterly pathetic Nets just laid down and died against expansion Toronto. Didn't show up in the final score. Is not even indicative of how bad this game really was. 97-88. Highlights, such as they are from the Nets standpoint, on our full half-hour show coming up right after the Knicks post-game report. And how about the Bulls? Can you believe this? Who gave up 72 points in the first half alone to the Lakers, playing at home tonight. Chicago going down to defeat Shaq and company on top of them, 107-95 mid-fourth quarter. Mid-third period out at the Coliseum. The Islanders continuing to lead the Los Angeles Kings. The score now 3-2. And David Wells, the veteran free agent lefty, has signed a contract, or I should say reached agreement on a contract in principle with the Yankees. We will hear from John Franco, Joe McElvain on the Mets. We'll talk to a number of our local college basketball coaches about what they're up to. Those stories, the highlights of some of the top games of the evening, once again, on our full 30-minute edition of the MSG Sports Desk. Now let's return to Al Trotweg.
All right, Bob, back inside the main arena, which is emptying now of a crowd that had to really enjoy this one. The Knicks win at 99-94. All 5 Knicks starters in double figures. Allen Houston joins us. This was a thrill. Biggest win of the season. I mean, at least at Madison Square Garden. You got to consider the win at Miami, too, but it had to feel good to have the crowd sound the way it finally did here tonight.
Well, I think this was a very exciting game. You know, we had won, 6 games in a row up until this point. And this was a big game because Utah was a very tough team coming in. It was a big test for us. And, the crowd got excited tonight, and we really got it going tonight.
I thought that when you got a chance to run, Chris looked for you, and you're such a good finisher, and you had a chance in that fourth quarter. It was a great lead pass he gave you, and you had Karl Malone coming in, and you found a way to get that ball to drop. Big play.
Well, yeah, that was a big play, but, me and Chris started communicating early, and I said, I'm going to run out, so, make sure you look for me. But, that was one of the things, when you scout different teams, that was one of the things that we considered a weakness for Utah. They don't have many, but that was one of them, is transition defense. So we took advantage of it.
Alan, can you put into words what it appears that we're seeing on the floor? I mean, you could say coming together. You can use a lot of different words, but it's a big difference.
Well, it's a big difference. I think what started in the streak for us was just being more intense. And on the defensive end, I think we converted, not only on defensive end, but we started rebounding more in the second half. And defensive rebounding has really won us games because it allows us to get in transition and get us easier baskets.
Finally, you knew it was going to be a physical game tonight, and it was. Karl Malone played his heart out. So did Oakley. So did everybody. This was a game that really appeared to matter. How physical was it, and how much different was it in a physical sense than other games lately?
Well, again, against a team like Utah, if you just let them, run all over the place and let them do what they want to do, they'll kill you because they play together so well. And that's one of the things we had to kind of be physical with them. And Karl Malone and their inside guys are very physical, and that's how we have to play to win games.
All right, 4 games in 5 nights. Reality in the NBA. You'll fly to Detroit. You'll play them tomorrow, and it's going to be, I guess, a little bit of a strange night for you going back to face your old team.
It will be strange. That's where I started, and that's where, I think I established myself in this league. And so it'll be, an emotional game. But, as long as we win and I take advantage of certain things, in Detroit, then, that's all that matters to me.
Now, as fans continue to deal with the business side of sports, how do you think the fans will receive you, and does it matter?
Well, it really, won't matter to me because, I made a decision. I'm happy here, and that's all it is. But I think, as Piston fans like they will be, I'm sure I'll hear a lot of boos, hated by many and loved by few, I guess.
Don't be coming down on the Piston fans and get yourself in trouble now, okay?
Yeah.
So now do you think this is something the team can build on?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a confidence builder because I think some guys made some big shots and executed well late in the game when it was important. And that's one of the things that we struggled at. We've played good defense and stopped people, but it was hard for us to convert on offense, and that's what we were able to do tonight.
All right, Alan, thanks a lot for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Allen Houston, one of 5 Knicks starters in double figures as the Knicks beat the Utah Jazz by 5 in a thriller here at Madison Square Garden. Speaking of Childs and the chemistry between he and Allen Houston, watch it develop here as Childs looks up the floor. This is the play we talked about moments ago. Allen Houston in full stride and beating Karl Malone with the layup. But we do have to focus on the play of Chris Childs, who once again guides the Knicks brilliantly. 7 assists, 24 points, big fourth quarter. He is the Marriott Marquis player of the game. The Marriott Marquis is, of course, Broadway's biggest hit. So lots to come in our post-game report. Michael Kay is working the New York Knicks locker room. I'm sure we'll hear from Patrick Ewing. And it'll be interesting to hear what Jeff Van Gundy's take is on this game. Obviously positive, but coaches always think about the next game and things that they have to work on. So it'll be interesting to hear what Jeff Van Gundy has to say about that. That's all to come in our post-game report. But now to officially wrap up our game coverage, we go back to Marv Albert. Marv.
Well, thank you, Al. And the Knicks go to 16-6, 7 straight wins. They have won 5 straight here at home, so they have been able to turn things after the slow start at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks over the Utah Jazz, who dropped to 18-4 for the season. And as Al and Allen Houston were discussing a moment ago, the Knicks and the Pistons tomorrow night at the Palace of Auburn Hills. The MCS Cannon Knicks game night will get it underway at 7:30 MSG2 tomorrow night as the Knicks go up against a quality team for the 2nd straight night. The Knicks post-game report is moments away. Closed captioning has been brought to you by Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the best of health. So on a terrific night for the New York Knicks here at Madison Square Garden, they are able to knock off the Jazz. And they do it with good play in the fourth quarter where it appeared that Utah was making a move. Marv Albert, John Andres saying so long from Madison Square Garden in New York. In a moment, Al will return with the postgame report.
New York Knicks basketball has been brought to you by. Postgame report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
Wrapping up game number 22 of the 1996-97 season for the Knicks. This is the New York Knicks post-game report. Back at Madison Square Garden, where the New York Knicks got big shots from Patrick Ewing, Chris Childs, and Allen Houston in the fourth quarter and beat Utah, handing Utah now their 2nd loss in their last 3 games. This is a team that had won 15 straight. And remember, we came on the air saying that Utah would play 14 of 17 on the road. Proving yourself on the road is a lot different than doing it at home. Meanwhile, for the Knicks, a very important win here at the Garden with all the highlights, and they're good ones tonight. Here's Bob Page.
Thanks again, Alan. A very impressive performance by Chris Childs, who really is beginning to reward the Knicks for the tremendous confidence they showed in him when they signed him to that huge money contract in the offseason. We've got to look at the highlights of this New York Knicks victory over the Utah Jazz tonight, and they're brought to you by Minolta. Al was talking about how well Jerry Sloan and the Jazz had done. They were 18-3 coming into this game and won 16 of their last 17. But Childs starts it off in the opening quarter to Oakley on the fast break. Knicks outscored Utah 10-2 to end the quarter. We're up 22-20 going into the second quarter, where John Starks kept the pressure on. Starks takes the feed and drills a 3-pointer outside, and the Knicks lead was 7. Utah starting to come back. That 1-2 Hall of Fame punch, John Stockton to Karl Malone. He led all scorers with 29. Jeff Van Gundy looked on as Malone drives into the lane around Oakley for the hoop and the call. Made the free throw as the Jazz outscored the Knicks 14-2 over the final 4 minutes of the half. It was Utah 45-40 at intermission. To the third quarter, Childs blows past Stockton, gets the hoop and the call, made the free throw, Knicks by 2. More Chris Childs. sticks the jump shot just inside the three-point line. Knicks up 66-59. And Childs back at it, this time outside the three-point line. Drills another one. Knicks 72-61. They led by 9 going into the final stanza, where Stockton drives, gets the layup and the call. He made the free throw to tie the game at 79, and still, Chris answered back. He was our player of the game with 24 points and 7 assists. Look at that spin move to the hole. It goes in, 83-79 for New York. And then Chris with a three-pointer to close it out as Knicks go up 86-79. Patrick Ewing actually topped the Knicks with 25 points and 12 rebounds. But again, just a tremendous night for Chris Childs. John Stockton drilling a three-pointer right there with 2:40 left to make it a 4-point lead. And then Karl Malone hits this with 45 seconds left. But you never really felt the Knicks would lose this game, as that man once more, Chris Childs, hits a triple down the stretch to put the Knicks ahead 97-94 as the Utah Jazz fall to 5-23 all time at Madison Square Garden. I told you earlier, the Nets just with an awful performance tonight at the Meadowlands Arena as they lost to Toronto 97-88. We'll have highlights of that game and hopefully some comments from John Calipari on our full 30-minute edition of the MSG Sports Desk right after the Knicks post-game report. And speaking of awful performances, the Bulls being blown out at home by the Lakers. This game is now 113-102 in the fourth quarter as, again, L.A. scored 72 points in the first half alone at Chicago. Now, the NBA scoreboard from tonight. The Philadelphia 76ers have lost again. Allen Iverson returns after missing 2 games with a shoulder problem. But the Sixers go down to an 8th straight defeat, 93-84, beaten at home by the Charlotte Hornets. How about Miami losing at home to Indiana, 103-89, despite a big night for Alonzo Mourning? Miami had won 4 straight, but they now are just 1 game ahead of the Knicks in the top spot in the NBA's Atlantic Division. Atlanta held Dallas to 46 points through 3 quarters. They're just underway in the 4th and plenty of garbage time ahead, as you can see, while Golden State at Seattle is just getting underway. And rounding out the schedule in the NBA tonight, Houston, with that 6-game winning streak, has what should be a gimme at Vancouver, despite the fact that Charles Barkley is sitting this game out with a sprained ankle, the 2nd straight game he's missed. They say he'll be back on Thursday. We'll continue on the post-game report after, again, this time out.
The New York Knicks post-game report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
Taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.